He's basically acting like Tony Ferguson and the Boogeyman, just facing absolute murderers and making it look like a murder scene afterwards, showing that he's the motherfucking murderer in the division. Which obviously that could be his fucking nickname at this point. What the fuck is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the Kevin Hoop Show. If you guys are new here, do not forget to hit that subscribe button. But with this video, we are going to be hitting Islam Makhachev versus Alexander Volkanovski. Probably the most excited I've been since it was released in October. Yeah, there's been Izzy fighting. There's been the whole Glover and Yuri Prokovich whole thing not happening. And then we get Ankalev versus Blachowicz for December. Not the most exciting of fights, but this one, since it was announced in the ring in UFC 280 or 281 back in October when Islam first got the light heavyweight belt, or the lightweight belt, sorry. I think it's going to be an interesting matchup. It is happening at lightweight, so Alexander Volkanovski is going to be moving up. And if you guys don't know, he's the 145-pound champ. If you live under a fucking rock, if we are really comparing things, obviously Islam Makhachev just attained his title. You know, he has only fought one title match. On the other hand, Alexander Volkanovski has had 5 matches and defended his title 4 times. So I think that goes to say a little bit of the experience when you look at these fighters, just one versus the other. Alexander Volkanovski has the experience. He's been in the octagon in 5-round matches multiple fucking times. The dude has been in the trenches. He's been challenged. He's faced adversity and prevailed. He has only gone through and kept on pushing forward, which I think is something to say when he talks about 2023 and the things he actually wants to do. He's saying 2023 is going to be the biggest year of his whole entire career. With someone who's had 4 title defenses in the UFC, that's already a pretty fucking good career. You're ranked pound for pound #1, which is a very hard status to achieve. You're not only ranked up against all of the other champs, but also all of the other good guys in higher weight divisions. It can be sometimes hard to get higher rankings in the pound for pound than those guys that are heavier in general. So I think that that's definitely hats off to Alex Volkanovski just for achieving that. Now, I've already mentioned this, that the match is at lightweight, so that's obviously meaning that Alexander Volkanovski has to go up from 145 to 155. Granted, he's not walking around at 145 pounds anyway, so honestly, the weight cut's going to be easier for him. He's probably going to be a little bit more comfortable. My question is about the weight cut is how used to being in the octagon at 155 is he going to be? Will he have a gas tank that's going to last him all 5 rounds if needed to go all 5 rounds? That's where I think the one factor of it being at lightweight might help Islam Makhachev. But at the same time, Alexander Volkanovski used to play rugby at 200 plus pounds. So if he's over here running back and forth across the field at 200 plus pounds, I'm sure anything at 155 he's going to be suited for. That doesn't mean he's not going to get gassed out. I would just say he has experience in multiple different aspects of being an athlete. So I think whether he's at 145, 155, 200 plus pounds, I think that gas tank is always going to be there for him. Now, when it comes to Islam Makhachev, we haven't actually seen him go all 5 rounds. I do think that if he does go 5 rounds, he might see himself get gassed out in that 4th and 5th round. Not saying it's going to be like the biggest downfall of a gas tank, but I do think Alexander Volkanovski is going to have an advantage in those 4th and 5th rounds because his gas tank is always one of the best in the UFC. He not only goes against Max Holloway all 5 rounds, he goes against Brian Ortega, the Korean Zombie. He goes against monsters when it comes to title defenses and goes 5 rounds multiple times. Now, that does also mean he has more decisions than Islam Makhachev, but I usually, when his fights go to a decision, it's pretty clear who won the fight. Now, we saw how Islam Makhachev dealt against Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Jiu-Jitsu in general, and we saw how his ground game was against someone who had a background in Jiu-Jitsu. Now, I think that Alexander Volkanovski doesn't really have a background in wrestling or grappling in particular, But he brings in a guy named Craig Jones, who, in my opinion, is top 5, top 10 grapplers in the world right now. And I really think that bringing Craig Jones into his camp has only helped him. This isn't the first time he's bringing Craig Jones into his camp. He's done it multiple times. If you look at the whole entire Brian Ortega fight, not only did he have good takedown defense, but he got put in the worst position you can get put in when it comes to jiu-jitsu, grappling, being on the ground. He was in a full rear naked or triangle and actually got out. Alexander Volkanovski has a mindset that I don't think anyone else in the UFC has of not quitting. He is either going to pass the fuck out or he's going to get knocked the fuck out. And a lot of people talk the talk and say, yeah, I'm going to die in here. But Bryce Mitchell was just along the lines of saying the same exact words. Got put in a rear naked by Ilia Topuria and tapped real motherfucking quick. That's where I think Alexander Volkanovski gets put in challenging situations. He gets put in the worst of situations and comes out on top. Another thing when it comes to the whole grappling game, and I've mentioned this before, is the thing that Khabib has brought up when it comes to ranking the different types of grappling styles from 1 to 3, I guess you could say. And he actually ranks, when it comes to wrestling, Russian Sambo, and Jiu-Jitsu, he ranks Russian Sambo first, wrestling second, and then Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or just Jiu-Jitsu in general third. Whether you agree with that or not, I do think that Craig Jones himself does bring a wrestling aspect to Jiu-Jitsu and kind of mixes Jiu-Jitsu and wrestling together. And I think in general, that's where the whole sport of Jiu-Jitsu is going. I think you're seeing a lot more wrestling and wrestling techniques be incorporated into certain jiu-jitsu techniques. So whether Craig Jones is incorporating that into Alexander Volkanovski's camp, I bet he is if I were to put some money on it. And I hope that we see some of that in Alexander Volkanovski's style when it comes to the fight. If we're really going to pick at things, though, I'm picking at Islam Makhachev's only got 2 wins by TKO or KO. Now, I have already mentioned that both of these fighters are heavy in the ground and pound sort of technique or style, meaning that they're going to get a takedown in some sort of way, and from there, they're going to maintain top control and try and land as much strikes or as much damage as they can from the top position. Now, with that strategy, I think it has only led to 2 knockouts for Islam Makhachev. With Alexander Volkanovski, though, I think it's a little different. Not only does he have really good striking, he's faced Max Holloway 3 times. Anyone who's faced Max Holloway 3 times is going to be extremely good at striking. Not only is he good from that, but he's going to be better and better and better from each and every fight. Now, has all of his wins by knockouts and everything, his knockouts and TKOs, he's had 4 of them. I don't think all of them necessarily would have led or came from a takedown and ground and pound style. But I do think some of them at least should have came from a striking stand-up knockout, which he showed that he has the capability of doing. Now, I haven't gone back and looked at Islam's 2 key KOs, and I haven't gone back and looked at Alexander Volkanovski's 4 KOs. But I do think, if I were to guess, Islam's were probably led from a takedown and then ground and pound. Alexander Volkanovski, maybe he had 1 or 2 come from that, but at least had 1 or 2 others come from striking straight-up knockouts. When it comes to standing up, Alexander Volkanovski is the most dangerous guy in the UFC right now. Not only has he shown it against Max Holloway, the Korean Zombie, Brian Ortega, just look at his opponents after he's finished with them. He's basically acting like Tony Ferguson and the Boogeyman, just facing absolute murderers and making it look like a murder scene afterwards, showing that he's the motherfucking murderer in the division. Which obviously that could be his fucking nickname at this point. that is going to be it for this one, ladies and gents. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys have any opinions or any comments on what you guys think or how you guys think this matchup versus Islam Makhachev and Alexander Volkanovski is going to go, let me know in the comments. I love listening to or reading and responding to you guys. It's always one of the best things I do in my week. As well as if you guys are new to the channel or you guys keep on watching my videos and not subscribing, hit that fucking subscribe button, baby. I really appreciate it. If you guys enjoyed this video, please hit the like button as well. And I will shut the fuck up now and have a great fucking holiday. It's Christmas time. We've got the New Year's coming up. We've got Hanukkah going on. I don't know any other type of religious holidays, but if you guys celebrate something, have a great holiday. And yeah, that's all I've got to say.